right, guys. So that girl that you just saw there, that woke looking girl that you guys just saw, right? Young, okay? Looks like she's not that experienced in life. She is getting exposed heavily today. Heavily. And the reason why is because it turns out that this young woman named Hannah Gutierrez Reed was the head person in charge of weapons when Alec Baldwin accidentally shot and killed his female director, Hanaya Hutchins, on set of the movie production Rust. Okay, so the details that are coming out about Miss Hannah Gutierrez Reed in her experience basically backs up why this incident even happened in the first place. Okay, and it also backs up prior stories about how people on set felt that the proper safety precautions were not being taken, that they were cutting corners, playing loose with the rules. And now again, we're getting some details in terms of why that may have been, because the head person in charge may not even been qualified to be in a position that she's in. And this is why you don't have diversity hires. This is why you hire people based off experience. This is why you don't cut corners. Okay, this is why you don't cut corners. There's just some things where you have to take all safety precautions, and you really need the best man for the job. And it is hard to believe that this woman was the best person for the job. And you guys will understand why after we read some of these details. So let's actually go ahead and get into this, because I'm telling you, this is unbelievable. Your jaw will drop just reading about how inexperienced and reckless some of the people were that were in charge of keeping these crew members safe when it came to handling firearms on this set. The 24-year-old head armorer of Alec Baldwin's movie Rust told a podcast she almost didn't take her last job because she wasn't sure if she was ready. Okay, so keep in mind, the last job that she's talking about was her first job. Rust was her second job. Okay, let's read here. The head gun handler for the movie Rush, which has made headlines after cinematographer Helena Hutchins was fatally shot by Alec Baldwin on set, revealed last month that she was worried about her experience level for her first job. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, 24, told a podcast that she almost didn't take the job, her first as head armorer, because she wasn't sure if she was quote-unquote ready for it, Metro reported. Gutierrez Reed, the daughter of a veteran Hollywood armorer Theo Reed, said on the Voices of the West podcast that Rust was only her second film as head armorer. She had just finished shooting the movie The Old Way with Clint Howard and Nicolas Cage. Quote, "It was a really badass way to start off a really long and cool career," she said on the podcast. "It was also my first time being head armor as well," Gutierrez Reed said. "I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it like it went really, really smooth." All right, so here's the thing. When it comes to people's safety, okay, when it comes to handling firearms, if you're not 100% sure that you are ready, that you're cut out for the job, then you don't take the job. You don't take the job. Okay, you have people's lives in your hands. That's just like a pilot saying, "I'm not 100% sure I'm qualified to fly this plane," right? "I'm not 100% sure if, I'm ready for this." But yet you decide to get in the cockpit anyways and to fly a plane with hundreds of lives on that plane, not being sure of your capabilities and skills to do the job. When you have somebody's life in your hands, you have to be 100% sure. You cannot be, "Oh, I'm not sure, I'm not ready." You can't have that. You can't. And this, her inexperience, and I guess her not being as confident, I don't know. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it seems to have led to somebody losing their life, a mother, okay? Gutierrez Reed added that she was initially fearful of loading blanks. "I think loading blanks was the scariest thing to me because I was like, oh, I don't know anything about it," she said. But her famous father, she said, helped train her up. The film's director of photography, Helena Hutchins, 42, died after Baldwin fired a prop gun. Director Joel Souza was also injured, according to the affidavit. Baldwin was handed a gun by an assistant director who said cold gun. The New York Times and Associated Press reported the term refers to a gun that is not loaded with live rounds. Insider reported that police interviewed an armorer as a witness following the shooting. It is unclear whether the armorer was Gutierrez Reed. All right, here's the thing. new details have come out, and the new details have basically said that Alec Baldwin had fired a live round, right? That it wasn't a blank. Okay. Now, this woman, the head armorer here, her dad is famous in Hollywood, I think, for the same job. Okay. So, in my opinion, guys, I'm just saying, I don't have any proof of this, but it just seems to me, just reading some of this stuff, she may have gotten this job because of who her father was. Okay. It might not necessarily have to do with her own skills and training. I'm just saying. So here's where the story actually gets really, really, really messed up. As there's a report that this same woman, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, once gave an unchecked gun to an 11-year-old actor. Yes, that is how careless she is. This is, again, alleged. I'm going to say alleged because you just never know. Media, the stories update all the time, so I got to start saying allegedly, okay? Allegedly. Let's read here. The inexperienced armorer in charge of weapons on the set of Alec Baldwin's movie, Russ, had given a gun to an 11-year-old actress without checking properly for safety, a report said. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, 24, daughter of prominent Hollywood armorer Theo Reed, was head armorer on set in Santa Fe, where Baldwin fired a prop gun loaded with a live round, killing cinematographer Hanina Hunches and wounding director Joel Sousa. Gutierrez-Reed's alleged misstep happened on the set of the upcoming Nicolas Cage film, The Old Way, and temporarily halted filming, sources told the Daily Beast. Quote, she was reloading the gun on the ground where there were pebbles and stuff, one source told the outlet. We didn't see her check it. We didn't know if something got in the barrel or not. Gutierrez-Reed reportedly handed the gun to child actress Ryan Kiera Armstrong, forcing concerned crew members to intervene. The report said the gun was then checked for barrel extraction, according to the sources. Okay, so this is huge. So on her first job, remember she said she was nervous. On her first job, she handed a gun she was reloading on the ground around pebbles and all types of rocks and objects that potentially could get in the barrel, right? Could get into the gun. She did that, and she didn't check it to make sure it was fine, and then she went and gave it to an 11-year-old. Again, this was her first job. She said she was nervous before going into, and this caused people on set to stop filming, right? And to check the gun to make sure it was good because she didn't do it. You mean to tell me that Alec Baldwin was not aware of this when he, being executive producer of this film, Russ, should have at least been responsible or had some awareness in regards to who he was hiring to be in charge of weapons for this film? So with that being said, doesn't he take some responsibility for this, for hiring somebody who is inexperienced and made a mistake like that on set of her first job as being head of weapons? You would think that, he would make a better choice in terms of who to hire. Because right now, a lot of people, I've been reading about, some, lawyers and legal experts saying that, he might not necessarily be charged. He can be charged with negligent manslaughter or something like that because it was accidental. He may essentially not face any charges. We don't know. But it seems to me that he should face some charges and take some responsibility because he is the executive producer. Therefore, the buck stops at him when it comes to hiring competent people. It seems to me that this guy cut corners to hire somebody that was inexperienced at the job. I don't know. Maybe he had a connection with her father. Maybe that's it. But again, this is why you don't cut corners with certain things, okay? This is why you don't just hire people based off who you know. Now, I know a lot of people do that, but when it comes to certain things, like, I don't know, people's safety, you got to go with the best person for the job. The left loves diversity and inclusion hires. Let's just hire this person because of their skin color, because of their identity, because of a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with merit. But again, this situation right here is exactly why you hire people, because of merit, so that you avoid unnecessarily getting people killed. Okay? Quote, she was a bit careless with the guns, waving it around every now and again. A source said there was a couple times she was loading the blanks and doing it in a fashion that we thought was unsafe. A Rush production source described Reed as inexperienced and green to the outlet, adding that there had been 2 other incidents of accidental discharges by crew members. Again, accidental discharges by crew members. I mean, again, I've never been on a movie production set, so again, I could just be talking, right? But you would think that if you knew about what happened in her first job, which you should, and you're also now having accidental discharges by other crew members, and this person is the person that's in charge, it sounds to me like she needs to be fired, right? You stop filming and you say, you know what, we're going to have to push this back. We may have to spend some more money. I know it's low budget, but hey, you're not qualified. We got to get in somebody that can actually take care of our crew members' safety. 2 other Rush production sources question if Assistant Director Dave Halls followed proper procedure before the tragic incident. Quote, he's supposed to be our last line of defense, and he failed us, one source told the Daily Beast. He's the last person that's supposed to look at that firearm. Halls was named in the affidavit, calling out cold gun, indicating its safety before giving the weapon to Baldwin. Another source confirmed that it should be the assistant director's job to test each gun for being, quote, hot, loaded with live rounds, or cold, loaded with blank rounds. This check alone should have prevented this incident, the person told the Daily Beast. So again, the whole staff just was reckless. Again, they have multiple warnings. This is insane. Last month, Gutierrez Reed said on the podcast that she was, quote, nervous about her abilities as an armorer while she was working on The Old Way, her first experience as head armorer. You know, I was really nervous about it at first, and I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it like it really went smoothly, she said last month on the Voices of the West podcast. All right, so I will say this, though. You know, in situations like this, I'm not surprised that these type of news reports are coming out where they're obviously trying to blame one person and take the pressure off of Alec Baldwin, okay? Take some of the responsibility off of him. But I'll say this, and this is not politically motivated at all. I'm just being real, right? This is just kind of how things work. When you're the executive producer, when you're the head person in charge, everything stops at you, including who you hire, okay? Now, I don't know if he necessarily had direct say or input in terms of who was going to be the head of weapons, right, for this film, but I would imagine that he should at least know and be well aware of who's running things, right? Who is being hired. And to make sure and to look into the background of that person and make sure that they're qualified for what they're doing. And also on top of that, this is why everybody to a certain extent should have at least some training on gun safety so that, you know, you can check the gun yourself before you fire it. And also on top of that, you should never point a gun at a person. Period. Whether it's loaded or unloaded, unless you actually intend to use it for real, right? If you're protecting yourself, self-defense, you should never point a gun at a person. So, I mean, the more details that come out about this stuff, I really do think that it would be wrong if this man was not found, liable in some sense, okay? Because whether or not, you want to blame him for, shooting what he thought was a cold gun accidentally, or whether or not you want to look at him as the executive producer, his role in hiring talent that seemed to not be qualified for what they were doing. Either way, I think he has to take some responsibility here. And this story is just sad and tragic. And it just gets more sad and tragic the more you read about it, because it seemed to be 100% preventable. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.